You ever hear the one about Nikola Tesla and Guglielmo Marconi? You know, the battle over who really invented radio? It's a story packed with genius, ambition, betrayal, and a courtroom twist straight out of a legal drama. And if you think this was just some polite scientific disagreement, oh, buddy, buckle up. This was a full-blown intellectual brawl. I first stumbled onto this story when I got my ham radio license and started digging into the history of wireless communication. You know how it goes. You start with a simple question, and suddenly you're knee-deep in century-old patent disputes. And let me tell you, the more I learned, the more I realized Tesla got seriously robbed. So let me set the scene. It's the late 19th century, a time when people were still getting used to the idea of electric lights, let alone invisible signals flying through the air. Tesla, the eccentric genius with a flair for showmanship, had already revolutionized the world with his alternating current AC system. The guy was basically the rock star of electricity. But he wasn't satisfied. He had his sights set on something even bigger: wireless transmission. By the early 1890s, Tesla was deep into experimenting with high-frequency currents and resonant circuits. He had already developed the Tesla coil in 1891, which played a key role in his wireless transmission experiments. This device could generate extremely high voltages and create impressive electrical arcs, great for public demonstrations, but also essential for radio wave generation. Tesla understood that transmitting energy and information wirelessly required high-frequency, alternating currents, and he was the first to describe the concept of a tuned circuit using inductance and capacitance to create resonance. I mean, think about that. Tuned circuits, resonance, frequency matching. Tesla was working with concepts we still use today in ham radio. The guy was decades ahead of his time. In 1893, at a lecture in St. Louis, he showed how electrical signals could be sent without wires, using a system of tuned resonance circuits. He even proposed the idea of a worldwide wireless system, a concept that later evolved into his ambitious Wardenclyffe Tower project. By 1897, Tesla had filed patents on radio transmission. These patents described a system of transmitting electrical energy through the air using a transmitter and receiver tuned to the same frequency. Sound familiar? Now enter Guglielmo Marconi. Unlike Tesla, Marconi wasn't some mad scientist with visions of wireless power and global energy transmission. No, Marconi was a businessman, a practical thinker. He saw Tesla's work, along with that of Heinrich Hertz and Oliver Lodge, and thought, I could make some money with this. By 1895, Marconi had cobbled together a wireless telegraphy system, which initially worked over a mile. His approach was straightforward. He refined existing work by Hertz and Lodge and made incremental improvements. One of Marconi's key innovations was increasing the range of wireless communication by improving the antenna and grounding system. Tesla had already experimented with vertical antennas, but Marconi focused on practical applications. He used elevated aerials and an effective grounding system, which significantly extended transmission distance. In 1896, Marconi filed his first patent in England and continued refining his system, eventually leading to his famous transatlantic transmission in 1901. This was a monumental achievement. Marconi received the first transatlantic radio signal from Cornwall, England, to Newfoundland, Canada, using Morse code to transmit the letter S. At first I thought, okay, maybe Marconi was just another genius working in parallel. But then I realized something. Tesla had already patented radio transmission. So how did Marconi get all the credit? Well, this is where things get messy. In 1904, the U.S. Patent Office, in a move that would baffle historians for decades, awarded Marconi the patent for radio. Yep. Despite Tesla's earlier patents, Marconi got the official stamp of approval. Why? Probably because Marconi had powerful financial backers, including Thomas Edison and Andrew Carnegie. And let's be real, Tesla was never great at playing the business game. Tesla, understandably, was furious. He knew Marconi had built on his work. But Tesla wasn't the type to wage a PR war. He mostly just stewed about it while working on his next big idea, wireless power transmission. His Wardenclyffe Tower, an ambitious project to transmit energy wirelessly across the globe, was in development around this time. Tesla envisioned a world where radio signals, electricity, and even messages could be sent through the Earth's natural conductive properties. Unfortunately, funding dried up before Wardenclyffe could be fully realized, thanks, in part, to J.P. Morgan pulling the plug. Meanwhile, Marconi was out there making bank. His wireless system was rapidly adopted by maritime industries, military forces, and communication networks. He won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1909, which, by the way, Tesla also wasn't too happy about. Marconi's practical approach meant that radio technology spread quickly, while Tesla's grand visions often remained just that, visions. But then karma came knocking. In 1943, the U.S. Supreme Court finally stepped in. They reviewed the patents and, surprise, reinstated Tesla's earlier patents, effectively recognizing him as the true inventor of radio. Justice served, right? Well, sort of. By then, Tesla had passed away, broke and largely forgotten, while Marconi had become a household name. From a technical perspective, Tesla's work with high-frequency, alternating currents, tuned circuits, and the concept of wireless energy laid the foundation for modern radio technology. His use of resonant inductance and capacitance circuits is a principle still used today in RF radio frequency technology. Marconi, on the other hand, succeeded in refining, adapting, and commercializing wireless communication. He demonstrated that long-distance transmission was possible with proper grounding, antenna design, and power control. So, who really invented radio? The answer is complicated. Tesla laid the foundation. Marconi turned it into a business. Without Tesla's patents, Marconi's work wouldn't have been possible. But without Marconi's persistence, radio might have taken decades longer to reach the mainstream. If nothing else, this whole saga proves one thing. Being a genius is great, but knowing how to sell your ideas, that's what really gets you into the history books. And hey, if you found this story interesting, definitely don't subscribe, don't like, and absolutely don't share it. I mean, why would you want to learn about more epic rivalries in tech history? That would just be too much fun. 73 and see you on the air.